Today we have among us Srila Bandhu. How many of us don't know? Okay, sure. This is Deena Prabhu is a great disciple of his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Prabhuji is originally from Los Angeles, California, USA. Prabhuji joined the movement when he was 20 years old, in the year 1969, in a place called Boulder, Colorado. He was the first devotee to join that temple. The following year, 1970, he was sent to Los Angeles, where he first met Srila Prabhupada in person, and he took Diksha. And after Diksha, the first thing that happened to him was he was told to go to Dallas and open a temple. The first temple of Dallas was opened by Prabhuji and other devotees in 1970, and following that, he went to Houston. There is a nearby city called Houston, but now they have a very big temple. So, Prabhuji was the president of Portland from 1972 to 78. After that, he was teaching in Miami. In 1980, Prabhuji moved to a country called Colombia. Ever heard? So, Colombia means Spanish, so Prabhuji speaks Spanish also. He also speaks Hindi. 1984, from Colombia, he moved to Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan Dham ki. So 1986, he was asked to be the president of Krishna Temple, and that service he did for 3 years and 3 months. So 1988, a saint named Baba Madhav Das, who approached him to take over the restoration project of Vrindavan. I'm sure all of us have been to Vrindavan, right? So Prabhuji started, building the temple. In 2003, a beautiful carved stone temple of Srimati Vrinda Devi was inaugurated. And in 2003, on today's date, 14th of February, Valentine's Day, Srimati Vrinda Devi's installation was done, in 2003. So today is the day when Vrinda Kund temple was inaugurated. And Prabhuji maintained the temple for more than 30 years. And among various other services, we all know that he started taking people out of the all of us have been there. And among various other significant projects in Vrindavan, Prabhuji has helped in restoring the Samadhi Mandir of Srila Sanatana Goswami, and also he has been an active supporter of restoration and cleaning the river Yamuna. So Prabhuji requests everybody to please come and be a part of Raj Yatra, take the Raj experience. And he has come here to give us the Raj experience. Are you all ready? So let us welcome Deena Prabhu by loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamant.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we're very delighted to be back in Srila Prabhupada's office after a long gap, but the love of all the wonderful devotees of Mumbai has dragged me here. But today we're very sad because we just learned that one of our very dear godbrothers, Ekanath Prabhu, who ran the Bhaktivedanta archives and the database, has left this world on Vijaya Ekadasi in the afternoon. Very suddenly, but nobody was expecting. It was a heart failure. And Ekanath was one of the pioneers here in Mumbai. I hope maybe tomorrow they should announce for the devotees to pray for him. Because I don't know when he actually joined, but I've seen a picture of him on Juhu Beach walking with Prabhupada in maybe we do need some water, 1974. So at least from 74, he was part of Surya Prabhu's crew who built this wonderful facility that we're relishing daily. like Serbi, he was also from Netherlands. So I also visited in first time in 1974. Things were very primitive. Of course, there was no guest house, no heaven on earth, nothing. There was a Gandhi Park, and there was this Chatai Hall, just made of straw mats, and that's where we supposedly slept. We all slept because the only place where there was a fan was in there was a temporary temple for Radha Ras Bihari, because there was millions of mosquitoes when we'd sleep in the Chatai hut. They would just come and pick us up and take us off for Sunday feast. So the temple hall, it was just a tin roof, and there was some fans, so we all slept under the fans there. And there was a little compartment made with chetai mats. That was, and there was a great big 50-liter drum of water, and that's where we took our baths and everything. Things were quite primitive. So I've seen a picture from '74, but I don't know when he joined Serbi's team. So we're all relishing the wonderful facilities here and taking darshan of Radha Ras Bihari. So we owe a lot to Ekanath Prabhu. He lived in North Carolina, where the Bhaktivedanta Archives is, and he was dedicated his whole life just to preserving all the books, tapes, letters, you know, lectures, pictures. They have so many thousands and thousands of pictures of Prabhupada, and he was dedicated his life to preserving Prabhupada's legacy. So we owe a lot to him. And yesterday on the auspicious day of Vijaya Ekadasi, so we know that his destination, especially since he was, dedicated, he was a real Prabhupada man, and he's dedicated his life to preserving Prabhupada's legacy. So surely Prabhupada has taken him in his embrace and taken him to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Shamsundar in the spiritual sky. So anyway, first thing this morning we got this news. We were very shocked. The whole Vaishnava world is shocked because of this. Yesterday he had a wonderful sense of humor. Every day there was some nice humorous post from Ekanath. I just read one yesterday morning, and then all of a sudden he's gone. So the Vaishnava world is in shock right now. So we dedicate whatever punya we get from this Hari Katha today. We should all dedicate this to His Grace Ekanath Prabhu. His Grace Ekanath Prabhu ki jai. And helping in this wonderful endeavor of preserving the legacy of Srila Prabhupada was his dear wife Nitya Tripta. So we also offer our very heartfelt condolences to her. She was especially in charge of the photographs and everything, preserving the photographs. Anytime anybody needed a photo for something, that she was able to supply. So she's left behind now. So this is a rather sad day for us. I was very happy because we know since he dedicated his life to preserving Prabhupada's legacy, Prabhupada has certainly taken him back to home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So, where's my song? No, I was going to sing E Barakurana Koro. It's not there where the picture of Prabhupada is? There's a picture of Prabhupada there. Okay, no, but it's got another. It's very towards the beginning. Here, I'll find it. Okay, we'll do the Anila Prema Dana. That's probably even more appropriate. So if you have your devices, first of all, you can put them all on silent, because these little babies have a bad habit of crying in the middle of the lecture. And then you can look for Jaya Nilo Premadana. Whenever Vaishnav disappeared, Srila Prabhupada would always chant this wonderful song by Narottam Das Thakur. Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Prachur Eno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatana Kaha Dasa Raghu Nata Patita Pavan Patita Pavan Kaha Mora Bhata Juga Kaha Kabira Eka Kale Kota Gela Gora Natara Pashani Kutivo Mata Anale Pashivo Goranga Gunera Nini Kota Gele Pavo Se Sava Sangira Sange Je Kailo Vila Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Prachur Eno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, His Grace Ekanath Prabhu ki, Hai Go Premanande. Oh my goodness. So we're joined also by His Holiness Giraj Maharaj, so very auspicious. When I came here in 1974, Maharaj was very kind to me. 'Cause, somehow I had to get to the airport and I had no money, and devotees were just joking with me, and somehow Maharaj came and he said, actually I wasn't doing any service, but anyway, he felt that I was doing some great service for Prabhupada. He said, you should please take care of him. Immediately arrange a car. Because somehow, because the coming to Juhu was not planned. We were supposed to go back to America, but Prabhupada wanted some devotees to come for the Sankirtan protest. So I didn't feel like, because those days, the flight was, we went Delhi to Beirut, Beirut to Athens, Athens to Rome, Rome to Paris, Paris to London, London to New York. There wasn't this Delhi, this New York Delhi hop or this Chicago Delhi hop. It was like that. Oh. So I wasn't looking forward to that. So I came here for the Sankirtan protests, and all my money was finished. But somehow Maharaj was very kind upon me. He immediately ordered them to arrange a car, and they took me to the airport. And there was many other devotees also on that flight, so we got our flight back to America. So we were very fortunate that Maharaj was there to intervene on our behalf. I don't know if you remember, but I remember. I keep this memory very closely in my heart. So, on a lighter note, we'll go to, because we went to speak some wonderful Leela of Srila Prabhupada. So we'll go to Calcutta. In the old days, I'm not even sure what year it was. Somehow Prabhupada brought 100 devotees with him, and they were traveling around. Anyway, Prabhupada was in Calcutta and Gurudas and Jamuna, they were there. And one day Prabhupada was very, very excited. He told Jamuna, my sister is coming. Because nobody knew Pishima at this time. He said, my sister is coming. So he told her, so you have to make a very special feast. You have to make this and this and this and this, and you have to make it like that and that and that. And Prabhupada went into the kitchen and he made this and this and this like that and that and that, and she just helped. Papa cooked the whole feast himself. So then Pishima came, and they were sitting in a room together, and Jamuna was, cooking puris and bringing hot puris, and they had she brought nice silver thalis with nice silver katoris and set the plates down, and they were eating very nicely, and they were just chattering away in Bengali. Because Prabhupada says there's no single word of English. Because I see Bengalis without chattering, they cannot digest. I know, because in the old Gurukul building in Vrindavan, Pundari and I, we lived right next door to the Bengali pujaris, and there was a doorway between. It was locked, but it was a hole so sound could go back and forth. So they'd all come at 10 o'clock at night after putting the didis to rest, and they bring out all their Mahaprasad and so they were just, Prabhupada was just eating with great gusto. And if you eat too much prasad on Sunday feast, you get a little funny in the head. You become a little lightheaded. You're a little, like, intoxicated. So one time Jamuna came in, because she was filling up the katoris every once in a while, and Prabhupada had stacked all the silver katoris on a big stack on his plate. And Jamuna came in and says, this is old days, says, Swami, do you want anything else? And he said, no, just see, I'm a good boy. I have finished my whole plate. And with the last katori, he threw it at the bottom of the stack, and everything came crashing down with a big noise. And Jamuna realized Prabhupada was intoxicated with prasad. Oh, Swamiji. And your sister, does she want anything more? And Prabhupada looked at her, and she doesn't understand a word of English. And Prabhupada said, she is so fat. If you give her anything more, she will explode. And then Prabhupada smiled at his sister, and she smiled back. She has no idea what he just said. He said, when we were little, I used to climb on her back and pull her pigtails. So and Prabhupada smiled at Pishima, and Pishima smiled. So this is a very wonderful pastime of Srila Prabhupada that Jamuna shared with us one time personally. She personally told us this story. Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumiritam Dena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavaya Jyoti Swapadantikam Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bevacha, Pachitanam Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Self balance. Yeah. So we were just singing in this song, and Prabhuji mentioned that one of my services was that we fixed up the Samadhi Mandir Srila Sanatana Goswami. So we know Sanatana Goswami, his deity was Madan Mohan. One time when he was in Puri, he came to visit Mahaprabhu in Puri, and Mahaprabhu sent him back to Vrindavan to help find all of the lost places of Krishna's pastimes. We read about the six Goswamis in the Sad Goswami Astakam, how they would stay under one tree one night, another tree another night. Externally, they were exhibiting vairagya, that they were completely unattached, Not like us. We have to have our reservation made, 5, especially for Kartik, 1 year ahead of time. You have to make reservation. And is there attached bath and this and that? And is there AC? Uh, but they were just staying under one tree one night, another tree another night. Externally, they were showing renunciation. Uh, but internally, there was a esoteric meaning to this, that they would stay under a tree that night and Krishna would reveal in their dreams what pastime happened in that place. Then they would go to another place, they get that pastime would be revealed in this way. In fact, everything that we see in Vrindavan nowadays is only by mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he personally went to Braj and he revealed Radha Kund and Shama Kund to the eyes of the world. And then he sent the 6 Goswamis to excavate all the lost holy places. So everything we see is only by mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he gave Sanatana Goswami an order that you go back and you find that Madan Mohan Didi. Advaita Acharya, when he was in his younger days, he had gone on Prikrama, pilgrimage to all the different holy places, and he came to Vrindavan. And if you know where it is, just below Madan Mohan Temple, there's a place called uh, uh, Advaita Bhat. And there's extremely beautiful, charming deities there. Madana Gopal. Just like a few years ago, that was the theme song, huh? Choti choti gaiya, choti choti gwa, chota samiro Madana Gopal. So before Madan Mohan, he was known as Madana Gopal. So he found the deity underneath a butt tree, banyan tree. So that tree is known as Advaita Bhat. So at that time, Vrindavan was just forest. We can't imagine now it's looking more like your Bombay than forest. But anyway, that time it was all just forest. So Advaita left that deity with one Brahmin from Mathura. Mathura is an old, ancient city. You study history, it goes way back thousands and thousands of years. So it was an old city. So there was one Purushottam Chobe, because many Brahmins in Mathura, they're Chaturvedis. But in Brishbasa, we say Chobe. So his name was Purushottam Chobe. So Sanatana Goswami, he came back and Mahaprabhu told him that I will come a second time to Braj. So you find out a nice place and fix it up for me to stay. So he found this place, it's called Dwadas Aditya Tila. Tila means hill. And it was overlooking the Jamuna. There was a nice hill. If you've ever been there to Madan Mohan Temple, we're up on a hill and looking down, and you can see across. Of course, the Jamuna at that time was flowing right at the base of the hill. Now what we have is as a Prikrama mark, that was the banks of the Jamuna. Now, because we're shoving all of our black water on her, she's moved quite far away. Only Keshigachi touches. So he found this nice, peaceful place on top of this hill overlooking Jamuna, and he began to fix it up. Of course, we know Mahaprabhu never came a second time, but he ordered him that you fix up a place and you find that deity of Madan Mohan. So sometimes he would go to Mathura for Madhukari, because all the Babas in Braj, Madhukari means to act like a bee. A bee goes to one flower, takes a little nectar, goes to another flower, takes a little nectar, goes to another flower, takes a little nectar, goes to. So all the sadhus in Braj, they don't want to be a burden to any householder. So they take, one roti here, some sabji there, some dal over here. This is called madhukari. Those who are actually uh, doing real Brajavas, they live like that. Uh, uh, just begging from the houses of the Brishvasis. And those sadhus who move around all over India, they told me there's no place like Braj. Not everywhere you can just go around, you know, and beg like that. Some places everybody's meat eater, how you beg from. But Braj, he says, is a unique place. You just go anywhere and beg, and people will. They don't have anything. If you get outside of Vrindavan and then Nandagam, Barsan, all the commercial places, sometimes they don't even have paved road to their town. They don't even have electricity. And you come there by chance, immediately sit down, Baba, take some prasad, Baba, have some chach, Baba. The real bhava of Vrindavan is seva. They don't have anything, but whatever they have, they're ready to share with you. So they live by this madhukari. In fact, that reminds me of a story. One time, a Kumbh Mela was there in Nasik, which is not far from here. And we set up a camp there. And right on the Panchavati Ghat, there's a Balaji temple. And there was a wonderful Vaishnava there named Deena Bandhu Das. He was very, very, very old Vaishnava. And he had invited the devotees to come there because he was previously living in Vrindavan, but his guru had built this temple. So there's a beautiful deity of Balaji. But upstairs, the most amazing deity of Mahaprabhu with one hand like this, the other hand like that, and these beautiful, just like in a few, today's a Kadasi, so if you see the moon, you'll see just like that, you know, just little beautiful eyes, one arm is stretched way like this, and upstairs this beautiful deity of Mahaprabhu is there. So he invited the devotees to come because he knew Prabhupada, because he told us that when I was living in Vrindavan, there was a meeting of all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas because they were living in Vrindavan and they're all writing home to all their friends, please send me money, please send me money, you know. So they were saying, no, you should just live simply and just do madhukari. You should not be begging if you know. And he said, I remember that this young sannyasi stood up, Abhay Charan, and he told the whole assembly that if you want to live here in Vrindavan, then you live by madhukari. Otherwise, if you're writing all the time to your friends in Bengal, the police and money, then you should go there and preach to them. You're taking their money. Otherwise, if you want to do Brajavas, then you just live here simply. So he remembered Prabhupada from that time. He told us this story. It's not in Leelamrit, but he told us this story that Prabhupada was at this meeting. He remembered that. So when Prabhupada and devotees came to Bombay, he invited them to there in Nashik. And he told us amazing thing, that in the morning, Prabhupada would preach in Hindi in the Balaji temple. And all the devotees were staying. Nearby, there was a Birla guest house. So all the devotees were staying in the Birla guest house at a big hall. So in the evening, he would preach in English. So all the patrakars, the journalists, they came. And they asked Prabhupada, what have you given? These boys are all sons of millionaires. What have you given them? Yeah? And Prabhupada said, I'm just a Bhikkhari sannyasi. What can I give them? I have nothing. They're all sons of millionaires. You know, my father also was a millionaire. So, what can I give them? He said, just like Motilal Nehru, he was keeping one Angrez, one English fellow, as his servant. And he was paying him 9 times the wage that would be paid to Deshiwala, some Indian, somebody from Bharat. So his son, Jawaharlal Nehru, he became very upset. Why are you giving this English fellow 9 times what you would give to one of our citizens? And he said, Beta, they're ruling us, and they're our shashan, and I can keep one as my servant. Garv say I'm giving, 9 times the wage and to keep this Angrez as my servant. Prabhupada said, so he's moneyed man. He had big business. He could do like that. I'm just a Bhikkhari sannyasi. All I have given them is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And I have thousands of ungraded servants. So that Madhukari pastime made me remember this wonderful pastime just happened nearby here. Mm, mm. So anyway, Sanatana Goswami, sometimes he went for Madhukari in Mathura. And one day he was walking down the streets and he saw this beautiful black cowherd boy running down the street and then run in somebody's doorway. So Sanatana Goswami ran behind him and he came inside. That just happened to be the house of Purushottam Chobe. And he saw that uh, Madan Mohan, uh, the the Purushottam Chobe had three sons, and they were playing with the Didi like he's one of their brothers. They're not giving any respect. Hmm. And it was early in the morning, a little cold that morning. So mother, Purushottam's wife, she, without taking her bath or anything, she was cooking, breakfast, uh, boga. Hmm? Just like we remember in our childhood, it was cold, and mother just put on a bathrobe and go in and cook some oatmeal or something for us to send us off to school. So like that. And so Sanatana Goswami became furious. He said, this is Supreme Personality of Godhead. You can't treat him just like he's your brother or something. And look at you, hadn't even taken bath. How can you cook for the Lord? Not taking bath. You don't know. There's so many rules and regulations. Because we know Sanatana Goswami, he helped with this Hari Bhakti Vilas. It has all the rules and regulations. So many rules and regulations, you don't know. Then Purushottam Chobe fell at his feet. He said, so, we're sorry, Gosai. In the future, we'll be more careful. So then Sanatana Goswami, he came back to Vrindavan. That night, uh, uh, Krishna came to him in a dream. Madan Mohan came in his dream uh, and said, uh, I was enjoying very sweetly with my Chobeji family. Hmm? Uh, they were treating me with such love. Now you put all this rule and regulation. There's no... you put all this rule and regulation. It's no fun. uh, So next morning, Sanatana Goswami ran back to Chobeji's house. He started to fall on his feet. That Chobeji got down and touched Sanatana Goswami's feet first. Huh? And Sanatana Goswami blurted out that whatever I told yesterday, you forget. Whatever you're doing, Lord is very pleased with your service the way it is. And Chobeji said, look, last night Madan Mohan came in my dream. He said, Baba, you've got uh, three sons to take care of you. The Sanatana Goswami is old man, no one to take care of him. So you let me go with him. I will take care of him. Hmm? So Madan Mohan, he wants to go with you. So then Sanatana Goswami somehow he brought, uh, with a big cart, they arranged a cart and they brought Madan Mohan to that Dwadasa Dityatila. Now that place called Dwadasa Dityatila, because you can figure Dwadas means 12, right? Dwa, 2, and das, 10. Aditya means the sun. And if you look, when you're up there at Dwadasa Dityatila, if you look down the Prikrama Marg, you can see Kaliyagat. So remember at Kali, Krishna was wrapped in the coils of Kali in the cold waters of Jamuna for hours. So after Krishna chastised Kaliya, the Brishbasis, they brought him up to that hill, and 12 suns appeared in the skies to dry Krishna off and warm him up. So that place became known as Dwadasa Ditya Tila. Hmm. So Madan Mohan temple is just there. So that time there was no temple. Sanatana Goswami just leaned him up against a tree and was serving him like that. And especially, like I said, at that time it was just jungle. There wasn't any place, but he just sometimes got a little atta. He would mix it with the Jamuna water, and he would collect some cow dung and get it on fire, and then he'd make little bati. Hmm? Just make some bati with just mix Jamuna water and make some bati, and he would put it in the cow dung fire, and with a stick he would turn it around and break off all the black spots, and he was offering that to Madan Mohan. And Prabhupada on one recording, he says, and Madan Mohan was crying. Are, every day you offer this old dry bati. Huh? You don't even put any salt. How am I supposed to eat this every day? And Sanatana Goswami said, but Prabhu, I'm old man. Whatever I get, I offer you. Please accept. So Prabhupada said, because Sanatana Goswami is offering with love, then Krishna had to eat this old dry bati with no salt. So that is our position. We're all thinking that we're doing some great service. I'm a big preacher. I'm a big collector. I'm a big life immersion maker. I'm a big pujari. I'm big something. I'm a big cook. We're all thinking, whatever service we're doing is just an old dry bati with no salt. But because you see Prabhupada's letters, every letter, at the end he says, I'm always praying for you young boys and girls to advance in Krishna consciousness. So we're doing this old dry chapati ball service, and because Prabhupada is offering it, then Krishna has to accept like that. So he had to accept. And Sanatana Goswami, of course, we can't imitate the dealings of the Lord and his pure devotees. He's saying, look, I'm old man, whatever I easily get, I offer to you. Hmm? And if you're not satisfied with what easily gotten in life, then you'll never be satisfied. You have to learn how to control your senses. Today you're asking for salt, then tomorrow you'll say, oh Gosai, I get stuck in my throat. Can you put a little ghee? And then you want sweet rice, and then you want paneer sabji. Where am I going to get all these things? The Prabhupada said, therefore you eat this old dry chapati ball with no salt, this old dry bati with no salt. Hmm? Sanatana told him, look, if you want something more, then you make arrangements. So a couple of days after that, there was one fellow named Kapoor. So we know if your name is Kapoor, then you're from Punjab. So he was sailing down the Jamuna, and there was a big mela at Agra. He was going to sell all his merchandise in Agra and make a big profit. Somehow or other, his boat got stuck right there on the Dwadasa Chatila, on the sandbar. And he was crying, oh, somebody please help me, somebody please help me. So this little cowboy was there. He said, on top of this hill, there's one sadhu, maybe he can help. Because in India, nobody goes to sadhu for any spiritual benefit. They think sadhu means yadu. He'll do some magic, They go to the sadhu, oh, my business is going bad. Please bless me. My business will go well. Oh, I have daughter. She's 30 years old, still not married. You please bless me. I can find the son of a husband for my daughter. We go for some material benefit. Nobody goes for spiritual emancipation. So he ran up there on top of the hill, and he said, oh Gosai, please help me. My boat is stuck. This cowherd boy told me you could help. And he said, then you ask him. He's the Supreme Personality God. I'm just a Jeev. What can I do? He's Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality God, and you ask him. And he saw this deity just sitting there underneath the tree because he was just leaned up against a tree, no temple, no nothing. And as as soon as he turned and began to pray to Madan Mohan, then mysteriously his boat floated off of the sandbar. Then he told Sanatana Goswami, what do you want? Do you want gold? You want silver? You want diamonds? You want pearls? You want silks? He said, no, I don't want anything. I don't want anything. No, you must take something. What is your cargo? He said, salt. Okay, you break off a block. This guy's always crying for some salt. So he gave Sanatana Goswami a block of salt from his boat. He got to Agra just at the height of the Mela. He sold his salt for the highest possible price. He came back and he built this beautiful Madan Mohan temple. That's become now it's the icon of Vrindavan. You all go to Vrindavan, you buy your T-shirts, and it says I. There's a heart, and then you see the silhouette of Madan Mohan Tower. Mm. Uh, or you buy the I lost my heart in Vrindavan. I lost. Now they have. I lost my wallet in Brunei. I lost my mobile in Brunei. I lost my glasses in Brunei. Last year was the 50th anniversary. My wife came and I gave her a ticket to come because she was there at when 50 years ago when we inaugurated the Krishna Balaram temple. And she says, I want the T-shirt that says I lost my husband in Vrindavan. So anyway, that temple has become the icon of Vrindavan. So, and then he arranged a nice kitchen and he hired so many nice Brahmins. So every day they have a nice feast for Madan Mohan. He said, because he said, if you want, then you make some arrangements. So this was the arrangement that Madan Mohan made. Uh, but still today, they offer this old dry bati without any salt. If you go, because Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi Mandir is just below, because actually he was living in Manasi Ganga, the place called Chakleshwar. And uh, uh, every year on the uh, Guru Purnima, just like we celebrate Gaur Purnima, there's everyone in India on Guru Purnima, the first day of Vyasadeva, they call it Guru Purnima because everybody worships their Guru in that day. So on that day, all the Gaudiya sadhus used to come to Chakleswar, and Sanatana Goswami would take them on Prikrama of Manasi Ganga. Because even in Manasi Ganga, there's so many places to see. In fact, inspired by that story, the last few Kartiks, we started doing Manasi Ganga Prikrama. We visit all the holy places around Manasi Ganga with all the devotees. So anyway, that particular Guru Purnima, it comes just in the beginning of the hot season, around April or May, it comes Guru Purnima. And all the sadhus, all the Gaudiya sadhus, they came, Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gaur, Haribol, Radhesham, Radhesham. But no sound came. And they looked inside his bhajan kutir, and they saw Sanatana Goswami has entered into the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So they all began to cry, hoy, hoy, hoy. And they took the body of Sanatana Goswami back to Vrindavan. They circumambulated the Sapta Devalaya, the 7 Gaudiya temples, main Gaudiya temples, and placed him in Samadhi at the lotus feet of, just below at the lotus feet of Madan Mohan. So his Samadhi Mandir is there. And um, it was quite simple one. And I used to see it because I used to, chant my japa and I had my screensaver going. And I would see sometimes it was painted green, sometimes painted yellow, sometimes painted some other color. I would see it coming in all the pictures. And I was thinking, gee, we should fix this up. It should be covered with stone. It should, everything should be carved stone and everything. And one day I was thinking like that, and that later that day, one Russian devotee came who doesn't want his name known. He said, I want to do something for Sanatana Goswami Samadhi. I said, really? I was just thinking that this morning. So we got he gave a nice donation and we got some stone carvers and they carved nice things. And then there's of course, the Samadhi is there and Darshan Mandap is there. And so we clad the whole Samadhi with carved stone. And then we went to do the same thing for the Darshan Mandap. And when they chipped off the plaster, they found underneath it was just bricks and mud, not even concrete, not even cement. It was just bricks and mud, and you could see where the arches joined. There was a big crack, and all the archways. That if we cover this with stone, it's all going to cave in and crash. And there's a huge dome above it. It's all just going to come crashing down. So somehow we found out something called ferro cement, where it's much lighter than anyway, I won't go on to explain all the details. So anyway, we since we tore it all down and we made it much bigger, and we made this huge dome that was very light, and we put these nice stone pillars and everything, and to keep all the monkeys away, we put this nice grill all around like that, so you can go there and take darshan of this beautiful Samadhi Mandir of Sanatana Goswami, and it's completely monkey proof with all this nice grill all around. And it's a much big area, so we can all sit there and hear all the pastimes of Sanatana Goswami there. So this was our tiny service for the Srila Sanatana Goswami. There's another story of Sanatana Goswami there at Vadasa Dittatila, that there was some fellow from somewhere in UP. He was very, 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 very poor. Huh? What to speak of having something to eat? He didn't even have something to cook it with, even he had something to eat. So he began worshipping Lord Shiva, because generally people are interested in material benefit. They go to Devi and Lord Shiva. So he was worshipping Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was very pleased by his seva. And he said, when Lord Shiva appeared before him, he said, I'm so poor, I want give me some benediction that I will never suffer from poverty for the rest of my life. So Lord Shiva told him, look, you go to Vrindavan, you find out Sanatana Goswami, he's keeping a touchstone. He said, what's a touchstone? He said, any metal you touch it to, it will turn into gold. He said, yes? He said, yes, he'll give it to you. Ask him for it. So somehow he got to Vrindavan. At that time, there was no Indigo Airlines or Bihari's taxi service. Somehow he got to Vrindavan. Somehow he found out Sanatana Goswami. And he told Sanatana Goswami about his dream, that Lord Shiva said that you would give me the most valuable thing. He said, yes. You want a touchstone? He said, yes, that's what he mentioned. Is it there in the trash? One touchstone is there. You take it. So he took that touchstone. He touched some iron, bing, turned to gold. It's like gold. He went around, whatever he was touching, bing, bing, whatever metal he touched, it turned to gold. He said, now I'm rich. Now I'll never suffer from poverty for the rest of my life. And he was just going like this. And one fellow said, where did you get this thing? I got it from Sanatana Goswami. I prayed to Lord Shiva, get the most valuable thing. He sent me to Sanatana Goswami. And he gave me this touchstone that he was keeping in the trash. He says he was keeping it in the trash. And it's the most valuable thing. He's cheated you. He has something else. If it's the most valuable thing, we don't even keep it in the house. We rent a strong box in the lock box in the bank, So he's keeping it in the trash. No, he must have something else. Lord Shiva said he would give you the most valuable thing. So he went back to Sanatana Goswami and said, Lord Shiva said you would give the most valuable thing. The touchstone is not working? Yeah, it's working. You're not satisfied? Well, you said Lord Shiva said you would give me the most valuable thing. So why are you keeping this in the trash? He said, oh, you want the most valuable thing? That's what Lord Shiva said. Then you take that stone and throw it in the Jamuna. He said, you want the most valuable thing? Then throw that stone in the Jamuna. You want the most valuable thing? So then he took that stone, he threw it in the Jamuna, and Sanatana Goswami says, all right, sit down, take these kartals, and you chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We used to do a little puppet show with this pastime. It was nice, wonderful devotee named Jagatarni, and she has a nice puppets of Krishna and Kaliya and so many things. We used to do so many. We also do the Lord Chaitanya in the touchstone. I mean, Sanatana Goswami in the touchstone. We used to do this pastime. So he this beautiful deity of Madan Mohan. He has a history also that because the whole area we call Braj. And in Braj there's 12 forests. Most important is Vrindavan. So sometimes we refer to the whole area as Vrindavan because he's standing as the representative of all the 12 forests. But actually Vrindavan is just one. There's 7 forests on the western bank of Jamuna. Madhuvan, Talavan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, the biggest, Vrindavan, then one very far off forest all the way in Rajasthan, Kamivan, and then one tiny forest near Nandagam and Barsana called Kadiravan. Those 7 on the western bank of Jamuna. On the eastern bank, we have Badravan, Belvan, Bandirvan, Lohavan, and Gokul Mahavan. One forest has 2 names, Gokul Mahavan. 5, 7 and 5 is 12. So we have 12 forests. So when we know that Krishna's great grandson, Bhadranath, he came there to Vrindavan to establish monuments for all the wonderful places where his Purvaj, Sri Krishna, did his pastimes. So actually, Vrindavan, Prabhupada explains in the first canto in a purport in the first verse, in the first chapter, that the town of Vrindavan, also in the Krishna book he describes, the town of Vrindavan stretches from the municipality that is now known as Vrindavan, 25 miles up to Nandagam. That is the forest. Now we see it's all farmland, but in those days it was all forest. So that particular municipality, that became known as Vrindavan because that is where Krishna's most famous Leela happened. Krishna's most famous Leela was Ras Leela. And that Ras Leela, we know, takes place in Kartik. We have that wonderful Ras Purnima. So that's Krishna's most famous Leela. So he wanted a special deity to establish there. So he called Vishwakarma, who's the engineer of the demigods. We have any engineers here? We have a few engineers, huh? So anyway, Vishwakarma, he's the engineer of the demigods. So he told him, I want you to make a very special deity for this place. So he made one deity. At that time, there was only one person left on the planet who had still seen Sri Krishna. That was Mother Uttara, and she was living in Mathura. So they brought Mother Uttara there, and she saw this deity, and she said, he's from the Kati style to the feet, he is Sakshat Brajananandan Shamsundar. So then Bhadranath wasn't satisfied. So he ordered Bhadranath ordered Vishwakarma make another deity. So he made another deity, and he brought that deity he brought Mother Uttara again to Vrindavan, and she said, the Bhakshastal, the chest, that is Sakshat Brajananandan Shamsundar. So still he wasn't satisfied. So he asked Bhadranath to make a third deity. The third deity was made. Then when they brought Mother Uttara, when she saw that third deity, immediately she covered her face. Because in our Vedic culture, the younger persons cannot be shouldn't show their faces in front of the elders. So that Krishna is her, I don't know what you would say, but anyway, he's her elder relative. So as soon as she saw that moon-like face, she said, no, this is moon-like face of Brajananandan Shamsundar. So that first one, the lotus feet, that was Madan Mohan. The second one, the Vakshastal, that was Gopinath. And the third one, the moon-like face, that was Govindadev. Of course, now Govindadev, well, all of them, Madan Mohan, Govindadev, and Gopinath, they all went to Jaipur. And then there's another interesting story because now Madan Mohan, he's in a village called Karoli. It's like halfway in between, but it's like the road from Vrindavan to Jaipur is like this, but you have to go. There's this, I can't remember the name of that town. But then you come like this. You go to Karoli, then you come back and you go to Jaipur. So it's in the middle there. And somehow somebody started some thing that if you see if you start from Vrindavan, you see all the three deities in Jaipur and come back to Vrindavan before sunset, you'll get some benefit. I don't know what. This is just ISKCON Purana. Nobody could travel that fast in 500 years ago. I remember there's one our wonderful Vishnumurti from Kenya, Maharupa's father. He did that one day. He hired a taxi. I said, Baba, you don't have to do like that. See them peacefully. There's no such thing in the Shastras. It's not possible. So anyway, now he's in Karoli. How he got to Karoli, that's very interesting. Because one time, the king of Jaipur, he married his daughter with the prince of Karoli. And of course, you all know, but I've been observing for the last 40 years, Indian weddings, they go on for days and days. And the last day, that's called Bidai. The girl's going to her father-in-law's house. So that's a very traumatic thing. Westerners, we can't understand, but those who are still following the old Vedic culture, we know the girl has never been outside her father's protection her whole life. Now she's going away. Even grown men are crying. It's a very dramatic scene. And I've seen, at least in northern India, they just draw it out. That she gets in the car, they drive away, everyone's crying, then they come back, she comes out of the car, she runs to her mother and cries. They just, everybody's crying. I was talking about this one time, and there was one Indian lady in the audience, and she also began to cry, remembering her wedding. So her last day is Bidai. So the night before her Bidai, the princess, she was crying and crying. And father came and said, the king said, what is it that you want? You please don't cry. I can't take it. You please don't cry. Whatever you want, I'll give you. But she kept quiet. Because she's princess. She knows the palace intrigue and all the things. So he said, no, whatever you want, I'll give you. Please don't cry. I give you, finally he said, I give you my word. Now Kshatriya is given his word. She was smart. She knew all the intrigue of the palace, all the palace politics. So now Kshatriya is given his word. Whatever you want, I'll give you. Don't cry. And all she said was, now I'm going to Jaipur, and now I'm going to Karoli, and my Madan Mohan is staying here. That's all she said. But he's also king. He's smart. He can understand. Oh, you want to take my Madan Mohan with you? Yes. Tomorrow you will have to recognize him blindfolded. I will put all the three deities together. If you can recognize blindfolded, then you can take Madan Mohan to Karoli. So all night she was praying and praying and praying. In her dream, Madan Mohan came, said, I have broken my flute. It was the first time I didn't know this story, and I went to Karoli, and I looked, and you see the flute comes in here and it comes out here, and you can't draw a straight line. I thought it was some optical illusion. Anyway, he said, I have moved my hands and I've broken the flute. You find a Thakurji with the broken flute, that is me. So in the morning, they brought all the three deities. She found the Thakurji with the broken flute. She said, this is my Madan Mohan. And they got a great big chariot and a big army, and they took him off to Karoli. And Karoli was just, when I first went there, it was a completely nothing town. Only there was this huge temple, bigger than the Madan Mohan temple. And if you go to of course, there's the old Madan Mohan temple everyone knows, but there's a brand new Madan Mohan temple also. It was built, maybe 150 years ago, because all the deities went up to Jaipur. So, and that old temple was desecrated by the Muslims. So the Goswamis, the caste Goswamis, they feel that it can't be worshipped there. So they built a brand new temple. This huge place. But this is even huger. And the ceiling of the deity room, there's gold leaf paintings, and everybody comes there. All the villagers come and worship Madan Mohan. Very beautiful deity, beautiful, huge temple is there. So he took him off to Karoli, and completely useless town. Nothing was there. There was one dharmshala that was very clean and had no water. And there was another dharmshala that was very dirty, but it had water. Now you go, there's AC, because just nearby is, who's that Hanuman that everybody goes to see in Rajasthan? Anyway, there's some famous Hanuman deity nearby, and nearby is a famous Devi temple. What is that? Kaila Devi temple. So everyone, and just like in Nathadwara, they have so many bazaars of Mahaprasad you can get. It's the same thing. They have not so many, but they have a couple of shops around the temple entrance where you can buy this wonderful, just like Nathadwara Mahaprasad. You put it, they don't, use plastics. They wrap it up in newspaper, and after a while, that newspaper is all just becomes soaked with ghee. There's so much ghee in it. So you get this opulent Mahaprasad there. A very, very beautiful temple is there. So the actual Madan Mohan is there in Karoli, and that's how we got there. So, how late do we go? I don't know. I don't see a clock. Time is up. Okay. So we'll put our voice to rest here. If anybody has any question or comment or argument or okay. No questions. Everybody fell asleep. Where's our Jigyasudas? He didn't come tonight.
Baba Krishna was there in the coil of Kaliya for many hours.
Yeah.
Why Krishna was there in the coil of Kaliya for many hours?
Just to make the pastime more dramatic. Because the Brajvasis, they were all, Mother Yasoda, she wanted to run into the water. Balaram stopped her. He said, no, it's just a little water snake, nothing going to happen. Nanda Baba, he also wanted to run into, but Balaram stopped them all. They were just, when they were just on the, because when you have something, you take it for granted, just like if you go to Agra, and people who live in Agra, they never go see the Taj Mahal. Anytime we can go, and they never go. So if you have something, you forget that it's value, But if you lose something, then oh my God, I lost that thing. So they were about to lose Krishna. So Krishna just increased their bhav so much. When they were about to leave their bodies, then he slipped out of the coil. So he's just increasing their bhav, just to make the pastimes more dramatic, just like now we showed that Krishna's pastimes are marketable. We made this Mahavatar Nrsimha, I saw it 3 times with all the devotees in Alatra, along with Yadubar, who also gave some advice on the film. And the whole Alatra temple was there in Gainesville to see Mahavatar Nrsimha. Krishna's pastimes are so exciting just to increase our love for him, because we like some exciting story. So Krishna's pastime is so exciting, Little boar came out from the nose of Lord Brahma and expanded into this huge, gigantic boar, There's all the pastimes are just so amazing, So that's why, just increase their bhav. They make the pastime more exciting, So there's no more questions. Maharaj has a question. Okay.
In the beginning, you were singing the song of separation.
Yeah.
What was the reason?
Oh, because yesterday afternoon, Ekanath Prabhu left this world. You didn't hear it. Who was one of the pioneers of Bombay Temple. Of Yehu. Just suddenly he had a heart attack. I mean, yesterday we were all reading, he makes funny posts. He had a wonderful sense of humor. Every day there was a funny post on Facebook. And I was just reading his post yesterday. And this morning I opened up Facebook and first thing, people were writing me from everywhere because they know that I always make some post about, our godbrothers who leave. Said, we're all devastated. We didn't, Madan, Mohan and Mohini, she wrote to me. She says, we're all devastated. He just left with a heart failure yesterday afternoon. Yeah, no warning, no nothing. Just so that's why I was dedicated today's class to that whatever benefit we get from this Hari Katha that we should offer for. Of course, actually, he should pray for us. I'm sure with the wonderful service that he did. Krishna Prabhupada must be so pleased. So on a Vijaya Ekadasi in the afternoon, he had a heart attack and left us.
What do you say just about Madan Mohan Mohini?
Well, she wrote to me. She was the first person. First thing I opened up in the morning was Madan Mohan Mohini, because she's there in North Carolina somewhere. She wrote to me, said, this has happened, so please make a post. So, and everybody's asking me why, all these great devotees are going. I said, my take on it is that those of us who are still here, we're so fallen. Prabhupada's calling back all his stalwart generals to to pull us out of this material world. So that's why we sang Jayanila Premadana. I told her, she announced tomorrow morning in Mangalarti, because he's one of the pioneers. He was part of Surbi's crew who built this place. So we're all relishing this wonderful facility here. They had to suffer so many austerities to build this place. So anyway, I have my latest book, Braj Leela Part 3. Because 1 and 2, we did the whole Prikrama of Braj. But we just did a few places on Govardhan. So I thought Govardhan itself deserves a whole book, because there's so many pastimes. All you go there and do Olympics, you run around the hill, maybe see Kusum Sarovar and Radhakund or something. But there's so many places in Govardhan, you can't imagine. I never saw that place. You run there, take pictures. So we decided to make it a picture book. So now there's visual and written evidence of whatever places we could find on Govardhan that are still known. It's all in this book. And so there's 284 color pictures. 99% of them are Arjun Bhattacharya, who's now known as Arta Bandhu. So we're the Bandhu brothers. And 32 paintings that we had to get permission from BBT to use. So 284 color pictures. A couple of them are made by me. We showed some comparisons, what it looked like in the old days. And now we have a wonderful government in UP, and they're spending crores, not lakhs, crores of rupees to fix up everything in Braj. So we have some pictures where I show what it looked like before, and the modern picture now what it looks like. And 32 color paintings, 530 pages of nectar, and we're only asking a small donation of 1,000 rupees for anyone who wants a copy. And I'm here to sign it tonight if anybody. And you don't have to have cash. You can take, online and Google Pay and Q codes and all these. I don't know all these things, but anyway, anyhow, you can get this book, and I'm here to sign it. So, but first, we'll sing a very beautiful Braj Bhajan.
Say about it.
Yeah, I'm going to speak about it. That was what, the 40th anniversary or what?
Yeah, that's right.
So Maharaj came there by Zoom, and he told us a very wonderful story. Because we all know that we've all read Leela all about the wonderful pastimes of Mr. P.L. Sethi, who's Prabhupada's very dear friend. He was also a member of an organization very famous in North India called Radha Madhav Sankirtan Mandal. They get together every week and do 12 hours kirtan, 6 to 6. So Sethi asked Prabhupada for permission to do it in the temporary temple here at that time. So Prabhupada gave them permission. So they all came at 6 o'clock in the morning and they started their kirtan. And Prabhupada's rooms, just above that place where the old temple was, and he was listening. And of course, they all wanted to see Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was so pleased by their kirtan. He told that, you tell them, they just come in, live here in Hare Krishna land. Don't do anything except chant. I will get their daughters and sons married. They just stay here and chant. This is how pleased Prabhupada was. Of course, we never did that, but anyway, he was so pleased, like he made this statement. So late in the afternoon, anyway, one time, they were all anxious to see Prabhupada, but he was too sick to come down because I was 77. So they, Maharaj brought Prabhupada out onto the balcony and they all took their darshan of Prabhupada. Then in the evening, one lady began singing this beautiful Braj bhajan. Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. And Maharaj looked over and tears were pouring down Prabhupada's face, listening to this bhajan. So we'll sing this beautiful bhajan. This is written by an acharya in the Nimbarka Sampradaya. Just let me know there's 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. So one of them is Nimbarka. It was from Nimbarka Sampradaya that Mahaprabhu took the worship of, especially took the worship of Radha and Krishna. And this is written by Hari Vyasdeva Acharya. Although we'll see at the very end of the song, he puts his name as Hari Priya. The very last line mentions Hari Priya. That's how he puts his name. So if you have your devices, you can look up Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe Radhe. Yeah, well, you'll catch on. We'll sing in a special way because it's a long song. We don't have much. It's getting late. Jai Radhe, Radhe, Radhe.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Hare, we did justice to your story.